Oh, brother, that was. Well, here we are. We have arrived the finale of Gen 1. Thank goodness. Well, let's crop this a little better. Why don't we? Why don't we just like do one of these? Ah, well, okay. That's better. There we go. That looks a little better. So here we're on blue. We're not on the usual cartridge emulator. I am playing this on a regular emulator. I'm going to trade this over from here. But it's time to get Mew. Let's do it. That's the focus. Hello, how are you doing? Well, it's interesting. How's it going on? Well, I just blew crazy amounts of mud. But here we are. I mean, we're catching everything. We're right up on the end here. Now it's just getting Mew, which... Oh, I stream only on Twitch. I said nothing of the sort. Alright, we gotta go up. What am I doing? I've played this game probably like 9 times in the last 2 weeks. I should know what I'm doing here. Let's see, so we're gonna go... Charmander's gonna be fine. It's gonna be tough to get through Brock. Although I guess really they just know Bide, and if I just growl my way through that, I should be fine. Have you been working towards to make it achievable? Dog, this isn't a job interview. Alright? If I'm being... I don't care about hitting affiliate. I don't care. That's not why I do this. Alright, so usually mathematically, this fight can go really poorly. I'd say that crit definitely doesn't help. Someone also provides income, and I'm sure that's great for whoever wants to do that. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just kind of get through this first part of the game. We gotta get to Misty. The glitch is very simple. There's a very complex glitch that I can do much later in the game with Missing No that helps me manipulate its stats to be shiny and legal. We don't have to go through all that for this challenge, but I do want to at least show a simple Mew glitch in Gen 1. Because I think it is fun when it's good. I haven't meant to... Okay, dude. Oh, yeah, you're a bot. You're a bot. Here's what we're going to do. Banned. Boom. That felt powerful. That felt really powerful. Banning an AI bot trying to sell me fake affiliate status. Alright. And you can see my name is GF. That does not stand for girlfriend or gluten-free. It stands for Game Freak. You'll see why once I get into PK Hex here. So another thing actually we got to look at. What is my trainer ID? So it's 091162. That's not the ID number we want. So actually, here's something we can do. So do I need to do it? Oh, here, we'll do it after. We'll do it with just the Mew. There's no need to do it for the entire trainer. So really the checks that Home is looking for, if you're not getting a shiny Mew and you're just getting a Mew, it doesn't really matter what the stats are, right? The stats aren't what's important. It's the trainer and the ID number, which is something that when you have... Here, let me see if I can show it. So I'm not using it right now for blue, but I will be using it to import it onto a cartridge. So my little epilogue here, the GB operator, shout out. This thing lets you play through what is an emulated version of the game. So because of that, if you have one of these for your cartridges, you have access to putting PK Hex things straight onto your cartridge. Now, there are other points in the game where I could have used PK Hex for a lot of stuff. For example, I spent a little bit of extra time off camera having to catch stuff, like catch extra, for example, Zubats, after going in and checking for attack stats and seeing that I didn't have the requisite amount of like male or female split that I need for evolutions. But if you're really like in a crunch for time, you don't have to do all that. You could just go into PK Hex and manipulate Pokemon's attack stats in Gen 1 to get it to what you want. And you could also manipulate stats through there to make everything shiny if you wanted to. And you'd be able to legally transport it through the other generations. This first part of the thing is going to be really normal / like boring. It's really just you're going through the game until you get to Cerulean City. Here's one thing we do. We're going to need to level up. Because we can't... As Charmander, it's going to be kind of tough to beat down on Brock. Oh, see. Alright, there we go. So now Charmander knows Ember. That's going to get us through the Viridian Forest pretty quickly. So you see this number is 170. The final number on this dex, by the time we finish, is going to be 175. I'm going to show it off. I should be able to do the MGBA multiplayer with this. So I just have to finish off the trait evolutions, which are the only 4 I have to do left. Everything else has already been transported into yellow. That's another great thing about PK Hex that I was able to do. Was I was able to duplicate all the Pokemon that I had caught as version exclusives in red and blue, and just drop them into my boxes in yellow, and then delete them off of my red and blue cartridges. It was effectively a much easier transfer process. At least going from game to game in Gen 1, in terms of getting an entire box of Pokemon over without having to catch 20 extra Pokemon to trade. I'll probably do the same thing in Gen 2, but once we get to Gen 3, I'm probably just going to do the regular trade methods because things are a lot less buggier, and in terms of having like box space, like the flow of the game is a lot easier in Gen 3. So I think that's really just going to be a Gen 1 and Gen 2 thing. Except when I have to do trade evolutions. Although we're not going to be doing any trade evolutions in Gen 2. And most of that has to do with the transporter tool that I'm using as a cartridge. Is that it's going to have a Pokemon... So most of the trade evolutions, actually if not all the trade evolutions in Generation 2, are a result of the evolutions from a Pokemon that originates in Gen 1. And so with this Origin Dex, I want all of the Pokemon that are from Gen 1 to say that they're from Gen 1. That includes their evolutions that come in later generations. That's why, for example, I caught extra Lickitung, I caught extra Tangela in Pokemon Red, right? It's to have them come from Yellow. Now, the big example here is Steelix and Scizor, right? Those Pokemon originate in Pokemon Yellow, like in Gen 1. But then their evolutions are in Gen 2. So you would think, oh, I'm going to evolve them in Gen 2. But if I do that, I can't send them back to Gen 1. And then when I use the Poke Transporter to send them to a Gen 3 game, they're going to show as being originally from Johto because of the way the transporter's coded. So what's going to happen instead, so I can preserve its origin, is to move it from Gen 1 to Gen 3, and then all of those Gen 2 trait evolutions, or, you know, Umbreon and Espeon, I'm going to make those evolutions happen in Emerald, so I can preserve that they're from Kanto. Alright, let's see if I can get Brock down first try here. Alright. Alright, here we go. So I was looking for Bide. Alright, so there we go. Nothing happened. Oh, see, and I sped right through that because I got impatient. I don't know why I chose Charmander. It really doesn't matter what starter you choose. Alright, so now this is where we're going to stop here. Alright, burn damage is going to be good. Oh, the full heal, yep. Alright. Ah, that was so close. Alright, let's just like... See, this is the good part about playing on regular emulator here for this, is that I can speed some of these parts up. So we're just looking at probably evolving the Charmeleon just so I can get the stats to knock out that Onix. There we go. Alright, we got Charmeleon. Alright, let's do it again. Alright, and there you go. Just like that. It was just a matter of outspeeding at that point. So yeah, one thing too we're going to want to catch is probably a Paris. Thinking about it. I just need to re-familiarize myself with its Gen 1 moveset. Okay, yeah, so it only learns Stun Spore in Gen 1. That actually might be the case in Gen 3 too, and I'm just not remembering. Oh no, it learns Poison Powder and Spore. Does this learn Spore in Gen 1? I don't, is Spore even a Gen 1? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, at 27, though. That's such a high level for that. It's probably a little too high. What about Clefairy? I assume Clefairy knows, like, Sing. Yeah, level 13. Yeah, we can do that. That's much more manageable for what we want to do. Alright, so yeah. While we're in Mount Moon, we're going to try to catch Clefairy. Not at all required. It's just it's going to make things a little easier. Though you'd be surprised at how high Mew's catch rate is as a wild Pokemon in Gen 1. Yeah, see, there's Paris. Oh, shit. There we go. But yeah, once you get this Cerulean, we're not going to face Misty. We're going to heal. We're going to buy some Pokeballs. Well, we got to complete the Nugget Bridge, but you will see sort of the scheme we've got going. And you know what? Why don't we grab a Moonstone? We'll have it be Clefable. Because why not? Alright, so that's nice and easy and done. Yeah, we'll take Lord Helix for good luck. Alright, so yeah, no Clefairy. We'll be okay. We'll be okay without it. Alright, so we are going to heal. We're also going to go and buy some Pokeballs. And 17, that should be fine. Alright, we're going to face our rival here. It's probably going to be a pretty tough battle, but... yeah, see. That's how we bought the balls before this battle. There you go, just like that. And now the last part that we need to do before we actually get into some setup here, it's a very simple setup. And for those who are going to end up playing this like on the virtual console, if you play red and blue and yellow, you can do this in yellow on the virtual console. Just know it's not going to be legal in bank or home right off rip. Right? So because I'm playing this through my cartridge and through like emulations of my cartridge's saves, I can go in through PK Hex and edit the trainer ID the way I need to have this work for me. But with the much more complex 8 floor glitch, which Austin John Plays has a really good long tutorial about it, which will require you to play through more of the game, like a lot more of the game. You can eventually, through item manipulation and through some of this arbitrary code execution with a glitched inventory, you can manipulate this Mew's stats to be home legal so it has the correct ID and original trainer aim. But you can also manipulate it to be shiny, which is really cool. But for my purposes, I don't need to do all that. So now that we got through all of that, first thing we need to do is we're going to have to catch an Abra. So when you catch an Abra over here on this route, you have to be really careful because see, there's this trainer here on the right. We don't want to face that trainer. That trainer is very important to the glitch and obviously triggering that battle is not going to be good. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to load it. Let's see, we're going to make a save state here. So I just made a save state in case I do mess up. All right, let's try and catch an Abra. All right, we caught Abra. So that's a good first part. So now we're going to want to heal. Healing isn't required, but you're not going to really be able to menu and use items to heal much during this. So this glitch that I'm using, while it's not the 8th floor glitch, it is sort of a offshoot of that. It's a much simpler version of it. And it does do a bit of arbitrary code execution, but it's very limited in what code we're changing. Right? And in order to, in most games, and this game is one of them, in order to be able to sort of execute your own code, you have to access a mechanic of the game or make some kind of trigger or a set of events happen at the same time that isn't intended to happen. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to save the game. This is where this trainer comes into play. So we're going to save state again just to have that, because this might not work out on the first try. Yeah, see, that time was too late. Alright, so there we go. So now we're in range for this trainer, right? If I unpause this menu, this trainer is going to notice me and start a battle. What we're going to do instead, we're going to teleport. So he's going to see me, but then before he can move, the next order of operations, which you weren't intended to do this, but now you're going to teleport. Alright, so now that I've teleported, one thing you cannot do is you cannot pause the game. You do not want to open the menu. Alright, so we're going to battle this guy. That's fine. You can battle him. You don't have to. Alright, so what's next is we're going to want to battle this kid right here. This kid is very important, and you're going to see why. So he has a slowpoke. So the reason the slowpoke is very important, right, is the slowpoke is going to point, or I should say specifically within this slowpoke, what we're looking for is its special stat. So its special stat is the reason we're doing all that. So this should be set up correctly. I might have done this wrong. It's been quite a long time, and I didn't look it up beforehand to see if I got this right. But when I get on this Nugget Bridge, my menu should open on its own. And it has. Alright, so the menu's open. And basically what's going to happen when I unpause here is an encounter is going to trigger. Right? Because it's the same bit of code that they used for trainer battles to start. So what happened was we escaped, right? That code gets executed for that trainer battle to start. There's a wild encounter that's set up. But we teleported away from it. Now, What would have triggered that encounter was for me to open the menu, which I didn't. And in some cases, it can freeze your game. But because we specifically went and battled that Slowpoke, it has a specific special stat that will help us point toward this specific encounter here instead of the trainer battle. So now when we unpause, there it is, right? There's a Mew. And look at that. After 3 Pokeballs, we've caught Mew. Now, like I said, without access to changing its trainer ID, so I changed its original trainer, right? Well, I didn't change it, but I started the game with the GF trainer ID. So why did I do that? The only real legal Mew that you could have gotten in Gen 1 was through a distribution event. And through that distribution event, the original trainer was Game Freak. So the other thing they check for is the trainer ID. Now, that trainer ID is, I think it's like 22 something. Wait, I got it. I can pull it up. I can tell you exactly what it is. It's 22796, right? That's not what its current trainer ID is. If I look at it, it's 09162. Now, this is where PK Hex comes in, right? If I go to PK Hex and fix the stats on this, I'm also probably going to want to level it up a bit, but I don't think you have to, right? Because PK Hex might tell me it's not legal, but Pokemon Home's legit checks and legal checks are a little more lenient than PK Hex's are. So as long as I get the trainer ID on this right, I should be able to move this up. So yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to show. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. So now here's something else that we're going to do. Let's see if I can set up multiplayer with my Epilogue player. I should be able to. Oh, geez. Yeah, we'll let that rock like that. Okay, there we go. All right, so now let's try and open Epilogue here. So one thing I might want to do first is I want to just save this game. Alright, so we're going to exit real quick. We're going to open, let's open PK Hex. Where is... Oh, is it on you? Here we go. All right, so we're on PK Hex here, so I can show you. Let's see, I don't know if my mouse is going to show. My mouse isn't going to show everything that's going on. But, oh, here we go. Yeah, so here's Mew, right? You could see that right now it shows that it's not going to pass a legit check. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to OT miscellaneous. So GF is the right trainer. But if we change this to all right, it's still not going to show up, but it should. Is there a way for me to... Oh, that's me making a try. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on, let's try that again. Alright, so here's Mew. So now we're going to view this. Let's make this the correct trainer ID, and then we're going to straight up just drag him onto here. Right, so now this should be the correct, yeah. So we're going to export this save. So even though there's warning signs here, like I said, PK Hex has stricter legit checks than Game Freak does on things like Pokemon Home. So this should now be able to transfer its way all the way up. So that should now be good. Then we got to do trades with Pokemon Yellow. We're going to see here if I can... So this is my actual physical cartridge that you can probably hear in the background. Okay, you know what? There's something I just realized. I'm so dumb. Yesterday when I transferred things around to have my yellow set up with all my version exclusives that I caught, I now realize that I put Blastoise in the box, which I need to put him back in my party because I'm pretty sure I'm still in Cerulean Cave. And that would be a disaster. So we're back here in PK Hex. So you can see all these. These are all my boxes. I have all the mons that I need to trade. And then just in this last slot, we're going to put Blastoise right there just so we can get out because this thing does no surf. So we're going to save now. All right, perfect. And now let's upload the save onto my cartridge. Perfect. Oh, see, now I'm like covering up my face here. We're gonna let's mute Pokemon Blue. Alright, I need to crop down here on the top screen. This is definitely the slowest way to do it, but that's fine. That's A-okay. Alright, so now... let's see if I can get these fitting side by side. Yeah, why not? That works. That's fine. That'll do for what we're doing. Alright, so I've got this set up. Oh, wait, doesn't... do my Kadabras no teleport? Yes! What? Wait a minute. That sucks. Alright, well, so we're just have to get out the old-fashioned way. Let's see. Do I have anything that can dig? Do I even have my dig TM on me? That's the question. Yeah, that's it. I don't have any... oh, I have it. Duh. Jeez, dude. I'm absolutely dense. Alright, let's go to the Poke Center. Alright, so we can deposit Blastoise here. Do I even have any extraneous Pokemon? I don't think I do, outside of just Pikachu. And I'm going to want that so I can keep this Mew. I have Ultra Balls. Alright, yeah. So we'll go catch something. Is this one of those, like, weird statistical things where a Great Ball is better than an Ultra Ball? Oh. Maybe it is. Alright, that took long enough. That's fine. Alright, so before we trade here, I'm going to have to save and export this save file so that I can open it through my regular emulator instead of using Epilogue here, so that I can open up the multiplayer window. Alright, so we're going to back up my save. We're going to back up my game too, so we're going to go to ROMs. Alright, perfect. Alright, so now what we're going to do is have to go to File. We're going to go to New Multiplayer Window. And here, this is where we're going to open Pokemon Yellow. Alright, so we're going to do open the menu. Oh, I see. So I can't. Alright, well, the audio is going to be unruly if I keep it up. Alright, so here we are. Oh, wait. So now we need to inject this yellow save. Oh, there we go. All right, there it is. So I should be able to now. This should work. And look at that. Here we are. So that is pretty cool. Okay, so first things first. We are going to trade Mew over for Sandshrew. Alright, so Mew being sent over. That's us. Up to 171 on the living dex. Alright, so now we're going to trade away Sandshrew for this. We're just going to do 4 touch trades here. can't remember. Can I stop a trait evolution in this game? I don't think I can. I don't think you ever could. I think it kind of just happens. Yeah. See, there's Golem. Dude, Golem's Pokemon Blue Sprite is something. Alright, so we're going to trade Golem back for... We'll do Machoke. I'd say now we'll get a good glimpse at what Golem looks like in yellow, which is a lot better. Yeah, so much better. I don't remember what Red and Blue Machamp looks like. Oh, that's not bad. So now we will trade Machamp back for a Kadabra. I'd say once these trades are done, I will update our count. And that'll be that. Alright, so then we're going to trade Alakazam for my other Kadabra here. Alright, now our last trade is we're going to get this Alakazam back over here. So we're going to use the Sandshrew. All right, so those trades are all completed. We're gonna All right, so now we're gonna just save yellow. All right, we're gonna get the fuck out of there. Now it's time for another little PK hex action. Just to show off here what we've got going on collection-wise. All right, and here we are. All right, so there's Mew. We're going to put Mew in the box. We're going to put Golem in the box. We're going to put Alakazam in the box. We're going to put Machamp here in the box. And we're going to put the other Alakazam in the box. So now what we can do here is we're going to sort boxes by Pokédex number. Oh, wait, we got to do all of them. I thought that would work better. I wonder, is there a way to do that in PK Hex? Can I sort all the boxes? I mean, it's fine. It's going to be easier to sort once we get there, but I'll just kind of scroll through so we see everything we have. The boxes are a bit of a mess. But at the end of the day, we did it. Everything's in yellow that I need to move, and we're going to just transport all 11 boxes of these things over to Emerald when it's time. But until then, we're going to be starting next stream on Pokemon Crystal, which should be, I think it may be Friday. It gives me a couple days to, you know, maybe spruce up this setup here, this background, and like this layout that I've got for this. Make something a little cooler like I used to do. Pour a little more time in it. I'll have some time off to do that, maybe Friday morning. But yeah, I think we'll have a fun time. I mean, Gen 1's done. I'm very excited about that. I hate Gen 1. Gen 2, not my favorite, but has some of my creature comforts in terms of EXP bars and, you know, visible gender, and it's going to make, you know, and warnings for when the boxes are getting full, so it's going to make my life a little bit easier for collecting. I mean, Gen 3 is really when the floodgates are going to open, but Gen 2 is going to be definitely quite a bit easier than Gen 1 in terms of everything being sorted out and quality of life changes. So I'm excited for it. We'll see, you know. And then now I guess I've got to get on trying to edit this full Gen 1 video, get some voiceovers recorded, and kind of make a video detailing this entire process of collecting every Generation 1 Pokemon in yellow, red, and blue. So, yeah, you know, for the small handful that have been following along, I appreciate it so far. I'm hoping this more mainstream or like streamlined content that I create for this will hopefully gain a little bit of traction even and get everyone to watch. But even if it doesn't, I'm having fun doing this, and that's more than enough for me. So I appreciate y'all, and I will be back around on Friday for Gen 2. So peace.